Well, hey there and welcome everyone. This is Energy Gal Meditations and I'm Lisa. It's good to have you here. I'm hoping to give you an empowering message, and it's this. We as a collective are coming to understand there is no longer any sacrifice or martyrdom necessary. At the same time, we are coming to also understand that that doesn't mean that there isn't service that we could provide. See, I think we're going to become a very service-oriented, heart-focused peoples. You see, I think that this new humanity that's being birthed, we're talking about going from a third dimension into a fifth dimension, or a third frequency into 5 frequency, however you want to say it. Going from living in 3D to living in 5D. You know what that means? That means going from your mind, where you understand things, down into your heart, where you live from a place of love, where you live from a place of abundance, where you live from a place of peace that surpasses understanding, that you live and breathe and have your being in a place where it's like, this doesn't even make sense. It is the place of miracles, signs, and wonders, because you're going to do radical things like serve people and not worry about, am I getting paid enough for that? And yet you've got everything you need. And that doesn't make sense. This is where we're headed. If you'd like to go there, if you'd like to experience that. See, we're coming into that place of, I no longer need to sacrifice and be the martyr, throw away my dreams and allow myself to be crucified. There was a time and a place. Thank you, Jesus. But we're coming out of that Piscean age, into the Aquarian age that says, it's all about all of us individuating, becoming our own sovereign beings, understanding that we are all part of the collective, and that we all have a beautiful part in the healing of humanity. And so in our heart-led service, we can best allow the expansion of consciousness to happen. So we're coming into service. So just because we're not sacrificing anymore doesn't mean that we're not part of a collective that isn't serving each other. We're coming out of sacrifice and into service, out of martyrdom and into surrender. And these are shades that require us a discernment, and discernment comes from that heart space, from being able to be still and hear that tiny, quiet voice within. So I don't want to belabor the point. I just want you to know that that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about. Empowered in understanding, empowered in knowing, empowered in feeling beyond what we can explain, beyond what makes sense, but empowered in just knowing in our guts, knowing in our heart that we are here to serve. So I'm going to read to you a passage that I wrote back in mid-February, and it keeps unpacking itself to me. And I'm going to end with a poem about what service is, and then we'll be done for today. Because there's so much to talk about. This thing is going to unpack itself and unfurl itself like the most beautiful opening flower. Understanding that service means surrendering into the most beautiful abundance, and that everything you ever wanted is already there. Well, that doesn't make sense. I know. Now, what I'm going to read to you that I think got downloaded into my beingness and makes sense for me, I'm not saying it has to be yours. I'm offering this to you, is offensive. It's offensive, just like I like it. So here is something. In February, I had a very clear vision. I wrote, I am an apple tree. I grow apples. This is my whole soul purpose, to stay and grow apples. Along the way, I get to also enjoy sunshine, rain, various forest animals. Fruit grows and ripens because this is what organically happens when you're a fruit tree. There's no try. There's just being. Fruit begins to be ready to be harvested, but only the occasional lost hiker finds me, because I am an apple tree that has been placed in the forest along the edge. So the occasional lost hiker finds me and snags a few of the apples, but they never return because they were lost when they found me and they can't find their way back to me. But that's okay, because I am a tree and I am here to grow apples, and that's what I'm doing. So some bears come and they pick the fruit. Other apples fall to the ground and maybe rabbits and squirrels consume them. Most gets reabsorbed into the earth, good fertilizer for my roots. The bear and the other animals poop, and my seeds are strewn for God to do with as it directs. And that's not up to me. I'm a tree. I grow apples because that's what apple trees do. I don't have to worry about anything else. Just allow myself to be. So where the seeds are strewn and what happens with the apples, that's not up to me. It has nothing to do with me because I am a tree. If, and this is a big if Source of Love so deems, there may at some juncture be a crew that creates a walking path in the woods. And maybe, and this is a big maybe, this path coincides with me, the apple tree, there at the edge of the woods. And perhaps people on the walking path will see me and pick my fruit. But equally so, perhaps they'll be too distracted trying to win a race, biking or running as quickly as possible, and that's okay. Maybe the path users will have their earbuds in and be distracted by their phones, and so they won't look up and see me, and that's okay too. It matters not, because I am a tree. I am an apple tree, so I grow apples. This brings glory to the all, to the source of love, to consciousness that is experiencing itself through my life. It pleases it all and expands its knowingness of itself. Just me being an apple tree, doing what I do, being who I be, growing apples, not trying hard, just staying. And because it pleases the all, it pleases me too. It's easy being an apple tree. Now you have to understand, I wrote this born of this angst of what am I supposed to be doing here? Who am I? Oh my, if I could tell you my whole journey, I'll be 60 years old next month, and my whole journey has been about who am I? What am I supposed to be doing here? And I had a feeling it had to do with holding space for people, but I was in such a place of sacrifice and martyrdom. And it worked for a while because, there's grace where sin abounds. Sin being you miss the mark. You don't quite understand the whole thing, so there's grace there. But as the time has been marching on in my linear life here, I've come to understand, and the energies in the world are offering a truth that there's still service to be offered, but that's my stomach, I'm hungry. There's still service to be offered. And there's still surrender to enjoy. There's still letting go. But it's less about letting go of something you so desperately want. And it's more surrendering and realizing, oh, I thought I wanted that, but actually, I don't. And I can't give you a formula for how that works. There were times I thought, oh, I need to do this. I want to be this. Oh my God, without this, I won't. But as I've continued on in my journey and continued myself to just be still, this understanding that I'm an apple tree. And you could say, well, I'm just an apple tree. Well, shit, all I am is an apple tree. Or you could be like, I'm a goddamn apple tree. I grow apples. And as soon as this revelation of, this is what I'm here to do. And I know this is all metaphorical, but that's part of living down in the heart space, not trying to figure things out. Life started making sense. I started realizing there are just some things that are not my responsibility. And I think that's when I personally came out of this false sense of responsibility. Like I'm responsible for making sure everybody's happy. No. Everybody else is responsible for their happiness, and I'm responsible for mine. It was huge. So I think this is the season that we're in. And like I said, I'm not going to go on for too long because I think it's something that unpacks itself for a while. I came across this quote by, sorry for the name that I'm not going to speak very well, but here we go. Rabindranath Tagore. He said this: I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy. You see, I think we're coming into this great understanding that we have demonized surrender and service only to be coming into this paradigm shift of understanding, beyond understanding, into a knowing that our actions of service are joy. They are joy. It's not, well, I'm going to have joy and then later I'll serve. Oh, I'm going to serve, and in this way I'm experiencing joy. And there's so much to say, and we'll continue to let it unpack itself. So thanks for being here with me. I appreciate your presence. I pray that you can feel my heart of love for every single one of you. Because there is only just one. I'm only speaking to myself. Other versions of me. Thank you for being on the other end, for me to gaze into and have a reflection of myself. Thank you for being my mirror. Whatever you see in me that you really like, that's who you are. Whatever you see in other people that you really don't like, that's who you are too. From my heart to your heart. Peace. Here we go. Inward and upward. Outward